Hi, I'm Matt Marshall, founder and CEO of VentureBeat. We're here live from GTC 2024 talking with Vic Malyala, who is the Senior Vice President of Technology and AI at Supermicro. Welcome, Vic.
Thanks, Matt, for having me here. Yeah.
Vic, Supermicro. A lot of our guests may not be familiar with Supermicro because it's a company that's in the background, but you're doing something really important, right? So GTC is where Nvidia is showing off its latest technology. They're the GPU company, but you're the company putting the GPUs together in clusters ready to be in modularized form, right? Ready to be used by these scaled enterprise companies. And that has also shown tremendous growth for you, right, in terms of the market cap of Supermicro. Tell us what you're doing here today. Are you making any announcements with Nvidia?
Now, besides having the buckets of candy outside, yeah, there is a lot more things that are happening here.
Yeah, right there, right? Yeah, too close.
Yeah, so I think GTC is one of the most, if not the most important event for Supermicro and in general for the community today. Mainly because of what is happening in the industry with respect to accelerating everything and how to improve the overall experience of any vertical on any application. And Supermicro has been working with Nvidia for the longest time. I mean, you might have heard Jensen saying like, Supermicro and Nvidia started in the same year, which is true, and we've been working closely together for the longest time. So it's not just an overnight glory, but it is something in the making for the last couple of decades. And what happened is that when we take a look at Supermicro products and start adding accelerators to that, that was being used for HPC, that is used for inferencing and machine learning and so many things that were happening for the last several years. But the Gen AI, when it came, the whole thing changed, right? And the good thing is that we are ready and we are already having all these platforms developed with Nvidia, and given the fact that we are just like a stone throw away from each other companies, we actually took it to the next level by bringing, it's not that easy, by the way, to stay in the same pace as Nvidia, but we were able to successfully do that and bring the technology before anyone else. That actually made a huge difference in enabling customers and also accelerating the innovation pretty much anywhere.
Great, so when you said everything changed when generative AI hit last year, are you saying change as in just poured on the growth, it's just acceleration, or is it change in other ways? Can you talk a little bit about that?
In every way, right? So, of course, there is a lot of demand suddenly came about anything to do with accelerated computing. That is given, right? I mean, everybody knows.
Yeah.
But what is happening is that the type of customers that are coming up, the type of applications that are being developed, which requires this kind of hardware, some of these companies you might have never heard of their names like 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
Now they are the mainstream. And we are actually able to enable so many different type of customers. That is the one that is propelling this, ridiculous, if not outrageous growth.
So that's a great point, Vic. We have been talking here about this inflection point when you get away from experimentation with generative AI to actual deployment. And there's a question of when that really accelerates in the enterprise. Can you talk a little bit about who those customers are? Those new customers, if I don't know if you have any names you can share, maybe if not, maybe groupings of industries that are driving the change, and are they moving to deployment?
Right, so names, if you just walk around, I would say majority of those are customers are going to be customers, given the fact of what we are showcasing in this GTC event. But what we have seen is if I were to classify into different ways of customers, some are the end users who know what to do with this gear and who have a tremendous amount of data and also the resources to basically take the data, write some applications, run on these systems to have their business applications accelerate. That is one type of customers. Second is the type of customers who are creating infrastructure to take this gear and make it available for others who do not necessarily have the resources to go do that, whether it is going to be infrastructure as service, whether it's plain hosting and whatnot. And the third category are those ones who are developing applications who need accelerated compute gear in order for them to port their applications and develop their suites and whatnot. So it's a mix of these different companies, but the overlap is happening. I mean, the guys who are developing this infrastructure, they're like, well, I mean, if I'm able to do that, and if I'm able to pair with these framework on different software and make it easy for customers to adopt. All of a sudden, I'm creating a business case for myself and actually enabling different customers. So the good thing is the end users, the infrastructure as service partners, and as well as the small size customers that are developing software and eventually have the ability to scale to this large level. So it's a gamut of all these different customers. The good thing is that since we have products that are kind of starting from very small scale all the way to the massive supercomputers, it's very easy for people to find what is relevant for their workloads and pick a platform based on that.
Great, Vic, thanks. One of the things we saw from Jensen, the CEO of Nvidia's keynote, is this announcement of the new Blackwell system, right? The super duper, next generation of GPUs, and then the SuperPod, right, kind of data center that comes along with that. They were showing one of your racks that is helping with that back there, but next to Supermicro's rack, you have HP, Dell, and Lenovo. Can you talk a little bit about what's behind the rack? Are they all the same? Is it commoditized?
It's never the same and never commoditized. I think one of the biggest differentiators for Supermicro is application optimized platforms.
Yeah.
What does it mean, right? So we know very well for a fact that no one size fits all. And if you take a look at how these platforms are deployed, I mean, are they going into some co-location? Are they going into a purpose-built data center? Are they going to the edge? Are they staying in a core data center where they have very controlled environment? They have air-cooled, or they have liquid-cooled? And you can start defining all these, let's say, sections of parameters, and then you go back and look at it. You need to get the platform that is right for that. I mean, just in those 4 racks that you have seen in that Nvidia area, you have this particular one is like a Grace Hopper based. And for those guys who are looking for a densest compute, we have like a dual nodes with a liquid cooling that actually can bring the most efficiencies into the equation. Versus people who have networking in the front or back, then we have like a front or rear I/O. Or the people who are looking at optimizing for air-based cooling, then we have a single node based on that. So you can start looking at what is that people want to do. They want to support Bluefield 3, or they want to use ConnectX-7. They want to have different type of I/O. All these things are taken into consideration to come up with different product line. That is just what you are seeing. These 4 racks of things are like multiple variants of just Grace Hopper. Right? Okay. But when you come into the Supermicro booth, you will see a lot more products that are ranging anywhere from that, going into let's say Hopper systems and what it actually do with respect to adopting Blackwell and all that. Right. Because Blackwell is going to just blow everything out of water, right? And the good thing is that we are collaborating so closely with Nvidia and engaging on like multi-generation platforms. So we know exactly how this is going to shape up. But without a doubt, we'll be the first one to bring it to customers, and let's see how it's going to help them to do their business better.
Vic, great, thanks for that differentiation. Final question, as you walk the halls, you were there for the keynote. What's the key takeaway? Or if you take a step back, what's the key takeaway for guests from this conference?
I personally think, right? I mean, I mentioned about what kind of customers that we have.
Yeah.
I did not mention what kind of customers we did not have. The reason is, if you take a look at enterprise customers, they have tremendous amounts of data. They don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to manage it because they do not have the necessary resources to develop applications and put guardrails on that and run their workloads on that. And Jensen's keynote makes it very clear. If you take a look at enterprise AI, what they're doing with that is providing a framework for all these microservices that NIM based, and which actually can be used on any of these systems, because CUDA is the underlying framework for that. And people can take the data and apply it and develop applications quickly, which will help accelerating the adoption of this in enterprise space, because they are the ones who are pretty much having all our data, right? And by using that in a proper way and being able to create a secure AI environment in a multi-hosted environment, put a guardrails on that and accelerate the application development, that is the key. I think we are going to work with NVIDIA, and one thing that Jensen said, which actually is music to my ears, is how do we make this adoption easier? Because it's very easy to talk to a bunch of scientists and technical guys, but at the same time, it needs to make business sense. Business is what we are talking about, bridging the gap between technology and business to come up with enterprise workloads and accelerate their their business and whatnot.
Yeah, really almost Nvidia becoming a software company versus hardware.
I don't think it is becoming, it is, right? And we're talking about, it's not just software, it's not just the hardware, it's basically the environment and the ecosystem that is developed around accelerating everything. I mean, you take a look at what is happening with something talked about like GB272 NVL. I mean, what is it? It's a bunch of words, right? But if you take a look at it, in a single rack, we're talking about almost 720 petaflops of compute. Insane, right? Yeah. So if you take a look at the type of workloads that would never be done in the past within a meaningful power profile and within a meaningful time frame, that we are able to accomplish today. And the only reason it's happening is because of the vision that is behind it in integrating all these technologies, whether it's the compute or the network and the software and the entire ecosystem. So one can take it and run with it. And we are super excited to be part of this critical equation, because without hardware, nothing runs, right? So, and we are that.
Vic, we could keep talking. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you very much for joining us.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Maybe we can get some candy if you're not too busy.
I think we should do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vic. Thanks, guests, for watching, and be sure to explore more sessions in the GTC catalog.